Could it be? But me, your man, Louie T, welcome to Washington football overtime. Cincinnati, Washington, big game. As I talked about earlier in the week, heading into this game on Friday when I gave my prediction, if you want to keep the season alive, you need to win this game. They did that, and now you got a quick turnaround. You got Dallas on Thursday night or Thursday afternoon. Thanksgiving, got a chance to get the sweep. Win 2 in a row for the first time this season. You know, there's this somber feeling around this game because of the injury to Joe Burrow. I was sick to my stomach watching that situation unfold the way that it did. Guy having a magnificent rookie season. Fun to watch. You know, I watch all the games. I told you I'm a football fan first. So, you know, watching Cincinnati games has been enjoyable this year because I know I'm watching an up-and-coming star in this league in Joe Burrow. And he was having a phenomenal year. And he was having a really good game against us. And I don't know how this game is going to turn out. You know, that would have been a fourth down that was incomplete. We had already taken the lead in the game. Or I don't think we had taken the lead yet. It was still 9-7, I think, at the time of the injury. I feel like we still would have won this game. That's what I'm saying. But there's no telling. You know, I thought that the play calling got extremely conservative once Burrow left the game. And I think they kind of said, all right, as long as we don't make any mistakes, their quarterback isn't capable of beating us. For the second time this year, we've gotten a backup quarterback into the game, and we've essentially taken our foot off the gas pedal. I don't like that, personally. You know, just because you get a backup in the game, stupid shit happens all the time. You know, you get a fumble, you know, a bad snap. Anything can happen, a muff punt. We've seen that with us this year. Missed field goal like we got at the end of the game. Anything can happen, and it can change the tenor of the game. Don't take your foot off the gas pedal. We should have scored 30 today. But instead, they were content with just, hey, don't turn it over. Don't make any mistakes. We'll win the game. I'm not going to bitch and complain about that because we won the game 20-9. We got the dub. You'll take it any way you can get it. You don't want it necessarily that way, but look, it's football. Things happen, and nobody was crying for us when Alex Smith went down in 2018. You know, no one cries for you when Kyle Allen went down in the game a couple of weeks versus the Giants ago. Like, nobody's crying, shedding a tear for you. It is what it is. You move on. So, it sucks. Joe Burrow's a budding star in this league, but it also helped us get this win. I feel like we were going to win the game anyway, but no telling because of the way Joe was playing and how he was getting the football out. I don't know if we were going to come away with this victory. It wouldn't have been as easy as it was. I can assure you of that. But again, I'm not giving it back. I'm not giving it back. So, 20-9 victory. I'll give you some things that I liked in this game, things that I didn't like, and we'll get out of here because I don't see any super chats. So, first things first. Things that I liked in this football game. I liked the aggressiveness of Alex Smith. I thought that, you know, even though it led to some punts, because he was aggressive on like a 3rd and 4, he was aggressive on like a 3rd and 6, he was trying to push the football down the field. I like that. I like the aggressive nature. Take shots. Teams need to see on film that we're not just going to try to play for the sticks. We're not just going to dink and dunk you to death. We will take shots, and if you give us opportunities, we will make plays down the field. I love that. So I thought that was very refreshing. Now, for another week, the offense in the first half, not that appealing, okay? We had opportunities. You had a drop by Logan Thomas that I thought destroyed one drive. You had a shot opportunity down the field to Terry. I thought Alex could have put a little bit more on that, but that was a great play by the defender. You got to give William Jackson the third a little bit of credit there. Made a good play on the football. But outside of the Terry big ball and then the subsequent touchdown run by Antonio Gibson afterwards, not really much to speak of in the first half in terms of offense. You get the batted ball in the air right before halftime, and it's picked off. A good job of the defense forcing a long field goal attempt that they ultimately missed. But as you can see, this offense still, for whatever reason, can't figure it out in the first half. Now, the defense, however, they bent but never broke in this game. And look, it's frustrating to watch at times, but I've seen teams be successful with a bend, don't break mentality, most notably New England over the years. They'll give you all the yards you want from 20 to 20, but once you get inside that red zone, things start to tighten up. That's what happened in this game. Okay, Cincinnati was moving the football. We didn't force a punt in the entire first half. So we had issues getting to their quarterback. They got the ball out quick. They had a good balance going with the run and the pass. The run defense wasn't trash today, but they were giving up some good runs, and it allowed them to stay in manageable situations. We had opportunities to get off the field, and we didn't. There was some good play out there, too. Something like the touchdown pass to A.J. Green. That's a hell of a play by Joe Burrow. You know, he goes play action fake, turns his back to the defense, turns around. He's got a defender screaming in his face, and he makes the perfect throw. And that was great coverage by Fuller. You just can't defend a perfect pass. What are you going to do? So I thought that defensively, it wasn't always pretty, but it was gritty, and it was good enough to keep us in the game. Again, we weren't down, 20-7 at halftime. We were down 9-7. You can deal with that because our MO this year has been much better second half team than first half team. What happened today? Even before Burrow got hurt, the first possession, remember, Cincinnati won the toss. They got the football to start the second half. What happened? We forced a 3 and out. Okay, this defense is just different. Don't ask me why, but they just are. They're just different in the second half for whatever reason. And then you get the Burrow injury on the second possession. Well, before the injury, they had to punt. Okay, Burrow got hurt as the ball was in the air, got knocked away by Darby. He was hurt, but it was fourth down. They were going to have to punt again anyway. Even if he was healthy, we were getting the football back with great field position. So this defense is just different. We haven't given up many points. All right, we gave up our first touchdown of the season last week against Detroit in the third quarter. We've only surrendered 13 total points in the third quarter of this season. Good for second in the league behind Baltimore. We don't give up a ton of points in the second half. Not just the third quarter, the fourth quarter too. We're pretty good in the fourth quarter as well, but we've dug ourselves such a deep hole a lot of times that even when we don't give up a ton of points in the fourth quarter, a field goal is good enough. And we've seen that happen a couple of times this season where a team kicks a field goal in the third quarter or the fourth quarter, and that's enough because we were down so big. But they kept it close in the first half. We did the things that we've done over the last couple of weeks. The offense was not as dynamic this week as it had been in the past. I think what's apparent right now, and I've said this, and you've heard other people say this, is we need another guy opposite of Terry. For as good as Terry is, you can't survive in this league with just one guy, And today, you saw that there just wasn't a lot of juice out there outside of Terry McLaurin, So they're going to have to do some things in the offseason to get somebody in here, whether it's the draft, free agency. They're going to have to get a guy in here that can help stretch the field across from Terry, but also be able to be an impact player at the receiver position. We just don't have enough right now. Terry is outside by himself, essentially. I like a lot of the ancillary pieces. Again, I like Steven Sims. He had a touchdown grab today. I thought he should have gotten a first down on an early, I want to say it was a second quarter, out route on a 3rd and 4, and he's stumbling around. Stretch the football, get the first down, situational awareness. But I thought he was solid today. Isaiah Wright wasn't really not a factor in this game. Caught one wide receiver screen. That was about it, if I'm not mistaken. Cam Sims had a couple of catches, but nothing, earth-shattering. We got nothing from the tight ends today. Logan Thomas was a non-factor, had a big drop early in the game. So we need something opposite of Terry. That's apparent. But at the end of the day, we'll take it. The defense was solid. They came alive in the second half. Once again, no Joe Burrow, I think, changed drastically what Cincinnati was all about offensively. And I think it also changed the mindset of Jack Del Rio, who actually did blitz quite a bit in the first half. But they turned it up a notch in the second half. And you could smell blood in the water once Joe Burrow went down and Finley was in there. They just came after him mercilessly, and he had no answers. And they got it done. So I got some super chats now. I'm going to go ahead and take these real quick. Got one here from Alec Meehan. Thank you for the super chat, Alec. Greatly appreciate you. Alec Meehan writes, "What up, Lou? We need to re-sign Ronald Darby ASAP. Hashtag MOBB. Stand up. We in the building." I agree. You don't want to re-sign him right now because there's still, 5, 6 games? We're 3-7, 6 games left in the season. I'm not going to say that something's going to happen, but anything can happen. You just want to wait, make sure that he's healthy going into the offseason. But if this continues, there's no way that you allow Ronald Darby to move on. He fits this scheme perfectly. He's adjusted to playing zone coverage. He talked about him being a man-to-man guy his entire life, and that it was a bit of an adjustment when he first got here. Ever since that Philadelphia game in week 1, he really hasn't gotten beaten over the top. There was the big play against Arizona to Christian Kirk. But again, that was on a second reaction, extend the play bomb by Kyler Murray. It's a great play by Murray and a perfect throw. Fuller or Darby still was there. It was just a perfect throw. Hard to defend that. He's been outstanding. And again, he followed up last week where I told you he was the best defender on the field with another performance that lends itself to him being a quality corner in this league. And I think you got to re-sign him. I think you got to bring Darby back next year. And I think that's going to be high on the priority list after seeing the way that this guy's played this season. Got another super chat here from Daily Grind. Thank you for the super chat, Daily Grind. Greatly appreciate you. Daily Grind writes, here's a super chat for the win today. Not pretty, but I'll take it. Now I can wear my HTTR gear all week long. Look, I'm dressed in nice colors today. Not black. Anything not black on a Sunday for me is a win. Okay? So I'm feeling really good right now that I'm able to bust out some colors that aren't dark and grim and have me thinking about the offseason. I can think about this short turnaround and potentially making it 2 in a row. It's a big game. It's Dallas. I don't care if they're struggling. I want it. We need it. And if you want to have a shot at this division, the Eagles lost again. The Giants are on a bye week. And Minnesota has Dallas at 425. They're going to run the football right down the Cowboys' throats. Dalvin Cook is leading the league in rushing yards, or he was coming into the game. But as most of you just saw, Derrick Henry went apeshit on the Ravens, scored the game-winning touchdown in overtime. I think he's now the leading rusher in the league. Doesn't matter. I think Dalvin Cook could have a massive day against that Cowboys defense. We'll see. But I expect Minnesota to take care of Dallas, and we should go into that game with a chance at first place. So, and again, it depends on what happens with the Giants, because if they go and win on Sunday, then they would take the lead because they'd be tied with us at 4-7, and they own the tiebreaker because they swept us. But I don't see the Giants winning a ton more games. I don't see the Eagles winning a bunch more games. I don't see the Cowboys winning a bunch more games. Hell, I don't see us winning a bunch more games, but I think we've got a chance to win more than the rest of those teams. So we'll see what happens, but one at a time. This was a big one, and as you said, it brings a smile to my face when we get a win. We got the win. Now we got to quickly turn our attention to Thursday. Quick turnaround for the Cowboys on Thanksgiving. When's the last time we swept those bastards? It'd be nice to get it done this year. Got a super chat here from Kevin, the PRF. Thank you for the super chat, Kevin, the PRF. My man Kev writes, dang, LT, you're ruthless. We dropped 14 points, had the ball, and the Bengals had 8 yards when we took our foot off the gas with 7 minutes left. Yeah, I'm ruthless. I want their throats. I want to slit it, watch them bleed out on the ground. I'm not looking to make any friends here, okay? This league, we've seen craziness transpire in this league before. I don't want to take any chances, and we're not good enough to just, hey, we're up 20-9. Let's just chill, okay? F that. It felt like once we had the David Sharp penalty and the 15-yarder on 1st and 25 now, all of a sudden, it's like Scott Turner checked out. Okay, all right, that's it. Let's just get this. They're acting like Dustin Hopkins isn't the second worst field goal percentage kicker in the league this year. And we're just settling for a 50-yarder like this is money. Like we got Justin Tucker or something. Yo, I was hot over here. I was pissed off. Like, 1st and 25, you're going to run a goddamn inside give for 2 yards? Like, you got a chance to convert this still. And it was driving me nuts because I know what he was thinking. Hey, it's 17-9. They need a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. As long as we don't do anything stupid, we should be able to win this football game. Whether we get this touchdown, field goal, whatever, they shouldn't score any more points. I don't give a shit about what they got going on. I'm worried about us. Let's keep the foot on the gas pedal. Pedal to the metal. Floor that shit. You could have gotten 7. How many times do we see teams in 2nd and 20, and 2nd and 22, and 2nd and 17 against us get 13? It happened in this game. It happened in this game. I think I put in the discussion board on Flick in the community, 2nd and 15, what we gonna do? Well, I'll tell you what we gonna do. We gave up an 11-yard pass and it was 3rd and 4. Like, it was 1st and 25. Get 7. Make it 2nd and 18. Get another 9, and now it's 3rd and 9. You got a chance to convert. Nope. We're gonna run inside, 2-yard gain. We're gonna throw a little pass out into the flats to Logan Thomas, 6-yard gain, and now it's like 3rd and forever, like 3rd and 17 or something. Like, what the hell are we doing? Then you complete a little screen, I think it was, to Isaiah Wright or Terry or somebody, and that barely got any yard. No matter of fact, they tried a running back screen that he had to throw into the goddamn ground. And now you're trying a 50-yard field with Dustin Hopkins. You comfortable kicking a 50-yard field goal? If you comfortable with Dustin Hopkins kicking a 50-yard field goal, you need to wash your face and get your damn mind right. The hell is wrong with you? They were too casual. Up 8. Like he can't miss. They get great field position, go down the field, score some points, get the 2-point conversion. All of a sudden, we fighting for our damn lives against Ryan Finley. I don't like that shit. I don't like it at all. That's the second time we've done that this season, where we just completely taking our foot off the gas pedal. We did it against Dallas too. I want to crush somebody's larynx. Anyway, thank you for the super chat. Kevin, the PRF. Rob, you. Thank you for the super chat, Rob. You. Greatly appreciate you. Rob, who writes, what up, Lou? Feel sorry for Burrow, and he definitely looks legit. Will we ever get it right at quarterback? We'll see, man. We can only hope to get a guy like Joe Burrow. We can only hope that when we pull the trigger on quarterback again, that guy looks something like Joe Burrow. Obviously, they had to spend the number 1 overall pick. I evaluated Joe Burrow as the highest rated quarterback since Andrew Luck for me. And so there was no doubt in my mind that he was going to come in and tear the league up, and he was up until this point. Hopefully he's able to come back full strength from this injury and the same guy after the injury as he was prior to the injury. It's an unfortunate situation for him. And the Bengals, I mean, you saw those guys on the sidelines. At the end of that game, there was a pan shot of the bench, and it was A.J. Green, it was T. Higgins, and those guys looked lost. They looked like, well, shit, what do we do now? Like, it's a frustrating season if you're a Bengals fan, because you're not winning games, but you understand what this is. And at least you were enjoying watching the youth of the future for your team. You were fun watching T. Higgins and Joe Burrow and watching some of these young guys continue to grow in front of your eyes. And now this happens. It's like, well, shit, what do we have to look forward to the rest of the season? We've been there before as Washington fans. We've had end of seasons where nothing matters and guys that aren't going to be here next year are playing like Josh Johnson. Like, it's tough. So I feel for those guys. I do. I really do. Thank you for the super chat, Rob U. Barrett Downing, thank you for the super chat. BD, greatly appreciate you as always. My man BD writes, I'll take a W, but still a work in progress. HTTR brother. Yes, indeed. I'll take them any way I can get. As I mentioned to you guys earlier, I'm not looking to shy away from any wins, any way we can get it. If you're giving it, I'm taking it, because we're in no position to turn down gifts. And it's unfortunate what happened in Cincinnati, but that essentially was the football god saying, we've done this to you enough times. Here's your gift. Do with it what you will. I'm looking big picture. Like, this was a 1 win, but that could morph into 2 wins. So we'll see what happens. Again, I want to watch the Cowboys game today against Minnesota, see what they do in this game, see what kind of fight they have coming out of the bye week. And if they come out and they fight hard in that game, put up a fight, win or lose, then I know it's going to be a struggle on Thursday. If they come out lackluster, get their brains bashed in, lose that game 29-9, okay, feel really good going into Thursday against a team that has pretty much quit on their coach. So they didn't quit against the Steelers. That was before the bye. So if they come out with that same intensity today against Minnesota, whether they win or lose, that tells me we're going to be in a dogfight on Thursday, on Thanksgiving. If they come out in this game and they stink it up, Dalvin Cook goes for 225 and 3 scores, and they lose that game, 30-10, feel really good going into Thursday. Either way, I feel good. I don't think they're a very good football team right now, but they're very capable. They're very capable. Thank you for the super chat, BD. We're definitely still a work in progress. That is for sure. Got a super chat here from my man JP. Thank you for the super chat, JP. Greatly appreciate you. John Perez writes, good win. Gibson looks legit. Glad to see Chase having a strong game, but sad to see my guy Burrow get hurt the way that he did. Bengals need to fire Zach Taylor and his whole staff. They're all trash. I don't know about Zach Taylor. I think the jury's still out. I talked about that with my man Ace Boogie. If you haven't had a chance to check that out, I uploaded the video on my channel. It's also on his channel as well. But I think the jury's still out on Zach Taylor. But as far as Gibson is concerned, he's the real deal. I love me some Antonio Gibson. Gibby, to me, is the man. And I want to see him continue to grow. I wanted him to get a buck today. They didn't do a good job down the stretch. I told you, I felt like the entire team, and this is the mentality that's set by the coach, the coaching staff. I felt like they all took their foot off the gas pedal. After that David Sharp penalty, it's like everybody said, okay, that was a mistake. We can't have another mistake. Oh, don't want a holding penalty, or we don't want a hands to the face or something knock us out of field goal range. Let's just try to make sure we get this field goal 50 yards. And then after that, let's just, hey, if we got to run it 3 times and punt, so be it. We just don't want to mess up anything. We don't want to give them any chances. Scared money don't make money, man. But Gibson looked damn good today. Should have had 100. Ended up with like 96, I believe. I agree. Chase had a strong performance. Won't show up on the stat sheet in terms of sacks. But when you look at the forced fumble on the 4th down, mind you, when you look at the batted ball that almost was an interception, when you look at the tackle for no gain down by the goal line, which helped set up that forced fumble tackle on a 4th down, this guy was tremendous in this game. Chase Young was outstanding, and he's going to continue to gain confidence. And like I said, the sacks are going to come. But he just needs to continue to be a havoc wreaker. And that's what he was today. That's what he's been really all season long, really minus last week's game. He's been a havoc wreaker, and he was again in today's game. Thank you for the super chat, JP. King of the North, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. King of the North writes, Darby and Gibson impressed me today. Yeah, they did. Also throw in David Sharp and Morgan Moses. Remember, Morgan had to play left tackle, made his first start at left tackle since his rookie season. And we had David Sharp at right tackle. There weren't many complaints about the protection in today's game. And I can't think of really any instances off the top of my head where I said, damn, David Sharp was terrible on that play. Almost forgot he was out there for a second. Almost forgot that we had to do the switcheroo at left tackle and right tackle to accommodate David Sharp, because the offensive line did such a good job for the bulk of this game. So you also need to credit those guys for what they did up front in protecting Alex Smith and giving him an opportunity to be successful and not giving up some easy pressures and allowing anything crazy or out of the ordinary to transpire. But to your point, Gibson, I think, was the star of the game offensively. And there's a smatter of Terry in there as well. Like, you can't discount what Terry was today. And what he has been for us all season long. I think those are your 2 stars on the offensive side today. And on the defensive side, I think it's Darbs. And I think it's also, I just think it's collectively, I thought collectively up front that they got after it. I thought Jonathan Allen was spectacular today. I thought Deron Payne got some pressure. It sucks that his sack was negated, because that was a hell of a rush. I'd like to see that from him more. He used his hands beautifully right off the snap, knocked the guard's hands down, and won right off the bat. Like, that's what we've been missing with Ioannidis and company. And now, hopefully today is the beginning of Allen and Payne getting interior pressure, because you see what that does. Apke should have had a pick. Why? Because Jonathan Allen took the guard off of his feet and dump trucked him into the lap of Joe Burrow. And that ball sailed on Burrow because he couldn't step into the throw, because Allen had immediate pressure. And Apke should have given us great field position. But as a wise man once told me, he couldn't catch claps in a whorehouse. That's fine. I just like what I'm seeing from that. So I thought the entire group up front had a strong performance. And I thought the defense overall was really good today. The secondary, I thought, was tremendous. Now, the film will tell us if they were really good on the back end or was some things missed. But it felt like every time they tried us down the field, guys were right there. Darby was right there. Fuller was right there. Felt like guys were in the picture with a chance to make a play on the football. I don't think there were any egregious situations where we had breakdowns. I don't know if they had a big play in this game other than the T. Higgins catch. I think that set up the touchdown drive that they had, I want to say, or it might have been a field goal. I don't think they had any big 40-yard plays. It might have been the first time this season that we didn't give up a chunk play of 40 or more. We might have had one other game where we didn't give up. I don't know if we gave up any 30-yard plays. That T. Higgins play might be really close to a 30-yard chunk play. But for the most part, the defense I thought was outstanding. And Darby, kind of led that charge as well. So, yeah, I'm with you on that one, King of the North. Both of those guys really impressed today. Home Sports, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Home Sports writes, even I can't hate too much today, but this play like garbage for 2 quarters crap is old. Number 24 is up and coming. I'm with you, Home Sports. Like, at some point, like, you're not going to beat good teams getting off to these lethargic starts. You know, the defense, for whatever reason, they can't get a stop to save their life in the first half. I can't put my finger on it. I don't know what it is, but they didn't force a single punt in the first half. A single punt. The Bengals went down the field, missed a field goal. The Bengals went down the field, forced a fumble at the goal line on a 4th and goal. The Bengals went down the field, scored a touchdown. The Bengals went down the field, made a field goal, and the Bengals went down the field and missed a field goal. Like, they did not punt the entire first half. Like, you can't do that against good teams. You will be down like we usually are, 20-7. You will be down 23-7 at half if you can't get off the field. Every team isn't going to have Randy Bullock at kicker. I told you guys in the preview for this game, he stinks. He stinks. I've watched his entire career. He's terrible. And I thought it would come down to a Randy Bullock miss. And really, for the first 2.5 quarters, that's exactly what it did come down to. Because if he makes those 2 field goals, or the field goal and the extra point, and the one before halftime, because he had enough, it just wasn't accurate. It hit the goalpost. If he makes his kicks, it's a totally different game going into halftime. Instead of it being 9-7, it's 16-7. That's a totally different feeling than 9-7. All we need is a field goal to take the lead. A touchdown gives us a big cushion at 5, where they got to score a touchdown. Like, changes everything. So you can't keep doing this against good teams and expect to win. You're so right. You're absolutely spot on. It's getting old. And I don't know the remedy for it. I don't. The offense wasn't good enough. The defense wasn't good enough. And it's not just the defense. We love to point fingers at the defense because so much was expected of this defense going into the season. But the offense was just as bad in the first half. I love the aggressiveness, but you also can't have a drop by Logan Thomas on a first down on a beautifully run bootleg. You got what you want. You're going to get 8, 9, maybe even 10 and move the sticks, and he drops the football. You get a 3rd and 4 completion to Steven Sims, and he's stumbling, bumbling, and he doesn't stretch the football out for the first down, and he wants to get up and point first down. No, bro, you're short by a yard. These are situations that make you have to punt the football when you don't do the little things. So we're struggling on both sides of the football in the first half, and I can't explain it. We come out in the second half of every game, it seems like, and we're a different team. And so now it's becoming this thing where, hey, just survive the first half. Just survive the first half. Don't be down by double digits. Just survive the first half, and we'll be fine in the second half. We can't live like this, though. You can't live like this. There's so much more to NFL life than survive the first half so that we can actually start playing competent football in the second. There's got to be a different way. Got to be a better way. I don't want to hear, that's just the way it is. Things will never be the same. I don't want to hear, that's just the way it is. It doesn't have to be that way. Got to be a better way. Anyway, thank you for the super chat, Home Sports. Let's see. Got a super chat here from Wendell Barty. Thank you for the super chat, Wendell, who writes, Morgan Moses held his own today playing left tackle. Would he be the answer at left tackle for the foreseeable future and replace right tackle? It's interesting because Morgan Moses had a media session this week, and he was asked that same exact question. And I thought, that's nonsense. Morgan isn't kicking over the left tackle. He's a right tackle. He's always been a right tackle. He's a damn good right tackle. He's not moving over to left tackle. I don't know. You know, if Morgan can play quality ball, it's a lot easier to find a right tackle. And really, look, left tackle, right tackle, they both have to be good in this league, as we know. But it's a lot easier to find a right tackle than it is a left tackle. You can draft a right tackle in the 3rd round and him come in and be quality for you. Whereas with a left tackle, a lot of times, and you can find, there are hidden gems every year as tackles, undrafted, late round drafts, things of that nature. But more likely than not, teams like to go and get that out of the way early. Okay, and as you can see in college football now, it doesn't matter if you played the right side or left side, as a testament to the Alabama tackle, Jedrick Wills Jr. getting picked in the top 10 picks this year. It doesn't matter if you play the right side or the left side in college. If you're good, they will find you and pick you. So, yeah, that's an interesting dynamic there, because so much easier to find a right tackle, especially in free agency, than it is a left tackle. But Morgan Moses has been a right tackle for so long. He has developed this rapport with Brandon Sheriff on the right side. And when he was asked that question, he made a joke like, hey, you're going to have to talk to Brandon about that. I don't think he's going to be too happy. And Brandon was literally right next to him as he was doing this Zoom call with the media. And him and Brandon are best friends on the team. Like, I don't know if, and again, the coaching staff doesn't care about that. Like, oh, we don't want to break up the Brandon Morgan Moses connection. But, it's something to think about. I mean, he's playing damn good. I think if they get guys healthy, Jaron Christian or Cornelius Lucas back, I think they're just going to flip him back over. Like, this isn't a permanent thing. Now, that may be something they explore in the offseason. But I don't see this being a permanent thing. But it is something to consider, because he's been pretty much lights out on the left side to this point. Thank you for the super chat, Wendell Barty. Got a super chat here from King of the North. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, being the first to do it today. Greatly appreciate you, King of the North, who writes, Thanksgiving game means something now. The Red Rocket will be wanting revenge. Revenge. It's definitely going to, look, it was going to mean something anyway, to us as fans, at least, for bragging rights purposes. Now there's going to be a little bit more, especially if Dallas finds a way to win the game. It's going to have a lot more of a meaning to it, even though it's 3-7 versus 3-7. If Dallas were to win, it still will have meaning. Even if Dallas loses and it's 2-8 versus 3-7, it won't mean much from a standpoint of either of these teams being any good, but it'll still mean a lot for division purposes, because even if Dallas loses today and they win next week, they're 3-8 and a half game out of first place behind the Eagles. Technically, because of that tie, are still atop the division. But remember, the Cowboys already beat the Giants this year. They'll have the Giants once more in week 17. And if they somehow find a way to get back to the top of the division and they're tied with the Giants, that will be for the division. So, anything can happen. With no one running away with this thing. The Eagles had a great opportunity when they won 2 straight heading into their bye week. They had a chance to run away and hide with this thing. And they've come off the bye, and they wet the bed against the Giants. They did it again today against the Browns. They stink, do the Eagles. They are horrible. Carson Wentz seems to be regressing, not getting better. They got some weapons back. Alshon Jeffrey played today. Didn't make a bit of difference. Now, the weather in Cleveland the last 3 weeks has been tragic. They need to stop playing games there. The weather has been abysmal. I don't want to hear any excuses. They stink. So I look at the Eagles and I say, there's no way with their schedule they're winning this division unless nobody else in this division wants to take it. Seriously. I wouldn't be shocked if they don't win another game the rest of the season. They are hideous. And it feels like we've said that about every team in this division at some point this season, except for us and the Giants. And there have been times where I've said this team just can't get out of their own way, but I've never said we're never winning another game. A lot of you thought that we were going to be a 1-15, 2-14, 3-13 team picking in the top 5. And I told you, not going to happen, guys. This division is too bad, and there are games outside of the division that we have that are winnable. But when I look at the Eagles, I feel the same way I felt about the Cowboys about 3 weeks ago. I don't know if that's going to ring true for the Cowboys or not. They've shown a pulse of late. We'll see what happens today. But I tell you this much. The Giants right now look like the most balanced team, but then they got coaches fighting each other and had to fire a guy just now. So, if there's just dysfunction in this division all over the place, we seem to be the most stable. We don't have coaches fighting each other. We don't have people talking about the staff is unprepared. It's crazy to say this, but we might be the most stable franchise in the division right now. I love it. We might be the most stable franchise in the division, and that is never the case. Anyway, thank you for the super chat and doubling up. King of the North. Brendan McCloskey, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, Brendan McCloskey, who writes, I wish that we would have given the ball to Gibson on the final drive instead of Barber to get him over 100 yards. Keep up the great work, Lou. I really appreciate you, Brendan. And I wanted him to get over 100, but at the same time, had he gotten hurt trying to go after 100, we would remember, short, quick turnaround. All right? You're not going to get the same bit of rest that you always get. It's a short turnaround. And then you got Dallas on a Thursday. So don't put any more mileage on that guy, on the young back who's taking a ton of carries and hits this year. And let the veteran take those mop-up carries. Let him do that at the end of the game. As much as I wanted him to get 100, I'm cool with the young fella not getting 100 and taking some of those hits off of him. You know what I mean? I want this quick turnaround is big. And I think to an extent, the coaching staff was keeping that in the back of their mind. Hey, we got this thing under control. Let's let Barber carry the football. We trust him, number one, to hold on to the ball as a veteran. And two, we need the young fella to be ready. Him and JD, quick turnaround. Those are the big pieces of this offense. We need those guys healthy and raring to go on Thursday. So while I wanted 100, at the end of the game, I was looking at Gibby and it looked like he had a little hitch in his giddy up a little bit. I was like, yeah, go ahead, get him out of there. Get him out of there. So I had no problems with it. But I would have liked to have seen him go over 100 too. But you can't have it both ways. He didn't have 100 and you want him to rest. You can't have it both ways. I'd much rather them do what they did, which is take him out of the game, let him rest up, and get ready for Thursday versus Dallas. Got a super chat here from Matthew Manos. Thank you for the super chat, Matthew Manos. Greatly appreciate you. Matthew writes, officially Cowgirls Week, HTTR. Indeed. All right, rev that engine up early, okay? I would prefer this to not take place on Thanksgiving. They're going to have me nervous as hell while I'm going to eat. We always eat Thanksgiving in our household early. So we'll be eating during the Detroit-Houston game. However, if I was thinking about leftovers, I generally can't eat during a Washington game. I have no appetite. I'm usually a wreck, and I'm too focused in on the game to eat anything. So I will be out of – and look, all that's going to do is allow me to clear 3 hours and about 15 minutes worth of space in my tummy for some more grub. Because I'm going to eat, and I always do, my ass off on Thanksgiving. Always do, always will, and that will never change. So I'm looking forward to that game, although I wish it wasn't against Dallas on Thanksgiving. I'm looking forward to the game because we got a chance to sweep these boys. And I would love to get it done on national television for everybody to see. I would love to get it done. But, national television hasn't been friendly to us. I'm a little nervous. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm hoping the Rivera era is different on primetime television. That's what I'm hoping. Thank you for the super chat, Matthew Manos. Got another one here from Rob U. Thank you for doubling up. Double up. Thank you for doubling up. Rob U. Greatly appreciate you, Rob U. Who writes, really slept on Wes Schweitzer early in the year. He can be pretty nasty in the run game. Is he a lock for one of the guard spots next season? I don't know about that, but what did I tell y'all? I've been showing y'all the film, and I told y'all there was something to Wes Schweitzer. And remember, I wasn't sold on Wes Schweitzer when we signed him to the 3-year deal. I said, look, he's nothing more than a backup. All right, you can't rely on this guy to start. If he's got to start more than 3 or 4 games, we're in trouble. And remember, that first game against Arizona when Sheriff got injured and he had to come in, it was not pretty. But ever since then, Wes Schweitzer has been on his horse. Giddy up. That man has been a rock for us. Whether it's left guard, and when Sheriff came back, they tried to put Sadiq Charles in. He got injured, and he came back in at right guard. And it was right guard for Sheriff. And then Sheriff comes back. He goes to left guard. They try to put Sadiq Charles in because, remember, it was essentially Schweitzer is the backup for Brandon Sheriff, and they were going to try Sadiq Charles at left guard. He gets hurt 2 plays into the Giants game the first time around. Back in comes Wes Schweitzer, doesn't miss a beat. So at this point, that's why if the team said we're going to let Sheriff walk because he wants too much money, I'd be okay with that from the standpoint of we're not going to stink up front because Wes Schweitzer can hold it down. Now, you still have a void at guard, but could Sadiq Charles come back and fill that? Maybe he could, maybe he can't. I don't know. But I really want Sheriff back. You know how I feel. He's a member of this team. He's homegrown product. He's a leader in the locker room. He's a guy that I think other guys look to. And I think, if you want to build the culture, he's one of those guys that's a culture builder. He's a culture and a tone setter. So, want him back. But I feel really good about the guard position now with Schweitzer and potentially getting a young fella like Sadiq Charles in there that's going to upgrade the athleticism on that group when he comes back, if he's able to stay healthy. You always feel good knowing at worst case scenario, we can always plug in Wes. Even if, let's say Sadiq doesn't take to the guard position all that well and you're a little disappointed in what you're getting from him. Well, hell, you got Wes there. Like, I feel really good about that. I really like Wes Schweitzer. I think he's playing really good. He's going to be on the roster. I can assure you of that. They signed him to a 3-year deal. Is he starting next year? Now, I can't. Look, I think they like Wes Schweitzer as a backup. But I told you earlier in the year when we were watching film, this guy's pretty damn nasty. I told you that. I showed you that. He's nasty. I showed you in the Rams game. I showed you in the Ravens game. He's nasty. He's nasty. I like Wes a lot. I got a super chat here from JP. Thank you for the super chat, JP. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, JP. Greatly appreciate you. My man JP writes, man, we need offense in this upcoming draft. Jamar Chase would make a great tag team partner for Terry. And obviously we need the quarterback of the future. Well, you're not going to get both of those things in the first round. Now, you may be able to get, Jamar Chase and then double back and get a quarterback later in the first round if you trade back in, or like we did for Montez Sweat, or you get the quarterback of the future in the second or the third round. That's very possible as well, but you can't have your cake and eat it too. So if you're going to spend a first round pick on Jamar Chase, it's going to be your first round pick, and it's going to be in we would have to not win the division to get Jamar Chase. Like, we win the division, that automatically means that the lowest, the highest your pick can be is 18, because there'll be 14 teams in the playoffs this year. So the highest your pick can be is 18. So again, we'll see what happens. If this team does decide to win this division, it'll change the way you view things. But again, I want it. It is immeasurable what going to the playoffs and hosting a playoff game does for the psyche of your football team, and the experience is invaluable to the guys on this roster. It's nothing like playing playoff football. Nothing like it. You can't replicate it. You can't duplicate it in practice. There's nothing like winner takes all football. And these guys need to experience that. They really do. Kevin, the PRF, double up, thank you for doubling up, Kev. Greatly appreciate you, as always. My man Kev writes, argh. Jamar Chase mentioned quarterback, Sewell, Parsons, or trade down. Add AJ Green to my list. Hashtag 2020, never too early. I've still got questions about AJ Green. I talked about that with my man Ace Boogie over the weekend, and he says that a lot of it is just a lack of chemistry between Green and Burrow, and I think there is validity to that for sure. But I feel like there is just a twinge of a diminishing of skills as AJ Green is starting to get up there in age. So we'll see what happens, what Washington decides to do. Again, AJ Green doesn't fit into the timetable of this team. That's not the kind of guy that they've been going after in free agency. I don't see them changing that mindset now. I think they're looking for young guys going into the prime of their careers, like a guy that would fit into their timetable. The Titans would be foolish to let him walk, would be Corey Davis. That's the kind of guy that Washington would be looking to sign in the offseason if he were to come available. But I just don't see an AJ Green being a guy that fits into what they're doing from a roster building standpoint, and from what they're doing from a money standpoint, because I think AJ Green's still going to get good money on the free agent market as well. I don't think they're looking to pay a 30-something-year-old wide receiver big-time money. So we'll see what happens. But I know you don't like hearing the wide receiver talk. We had this discussion the last time when you said, look, wide receivers are a waste of a first-round pick. You can find guys in any round of this draft. You don't have to take one in the first round. You make a valid point, but there's also something to be said about having a Julio Jones and spending a first-round pick on a guy like that. Having all of these receivers that are first-round picks around the league, and we could go down the list of these guys that have been impactful throughout their careers. We could also go down a list of guys that aren't first-round picks that have been just as, if not more, impactful. And so there's an argument for it. There's an argument against. At the end of the day, we need somebody across from Terry. That's apparent, and that can't be argued. How we get that guy, where we get that guy, definitely worth a discussion. Thank you for doubling up, Kevin, the PRF. Got another one here from Rob U. Thank you for tripling up, Rob U. Greatly appreciate you, Rob U., who writes, Tim Settle makes plays when he gets snaps. With an abundance of defensive tackles, what's the chance we flip one for draft capital? I don't see it happening. They view the defensive line as the strength of this football team. They're not looking to weaken that. They're looking to strengthen that. So I don't know if they can afford all of those guys, but they don't have to make that determination right now. Settle's got both Settle and Young or Allen will all be up at the same time. Both of them will be free agents next year. So if you wanted to get Allen done now, you could let Settle play out his final year of his contract because he won't command as much attention as Allen would on the free agent market. And then next year you could sign Tim Settle. If you really loved Tim Settle still, Settle could say, nope, don't want your money. I want a chance to start in this league. I think I'm good enough to start. Tired of being in the shadow of, Allen and Payne. I think I can start in this league and play at a high level. And he may not want our money. He may want to go elsewhere. He may not want to be in this reserve role. So that's something else to consider. They're not going to put the franchise tag on Tim Settle. So, that's something else to consider. Guys feel like they're capable of starting. And if that's the case, they're not going to want to take your backup money. They're not going to want to take your rotational depth money when somebody else might throw starter money for them at them because they feel like if this is what this guy is capable of in a reduced role, what do you think will happen when we expand his role and make him a starter? So, to your point, if you think that could possibly happen, then you need to move a guy like Tim Settle and not allow him to sit and then ultimately go off in free agency and you get nothing for him. I don't think that's where their head is right now, though. And nor should it be. You try to hold on to as many of these talented football players as you can, and Settle has proven that he's very talented. And I knew that this scheme would fit him better because that's what he was at Virginia Tech. That's why I fell in love with him at Virginia Tech, because he was a one-gap penetrator. He's not a two-gapper. He's not supposed to be eating up, two gaps and playing on either side of him and all of that nonsense, taking up linemen. He's supposed to be penetrating and getting into the backfield, and he's shown you that he can do that well this season. Thank you for the super chat once again, Rob U. Let's see. Got a super chat here from let's see. Got a super chat here from my man Kevin, the PRF. Thank you for tripling up, Kevin, the PRF. Greatly appreciate you. My man Kev writes, can't put my finger on it. Our D can't stop three-step drops with Young, Curl, and our terrible linebackers. Talent shortage in the middle of our defense. Three-step drops are hard to stop for any defense. Here's the thing. On the back end of that, if you know the ball's coming out quick, then you as a defender in the back end have to do something about it. You can't play 7 yards off on 3rd and 4 if you know that the ball's coming out hot. It's coming out quick. As a defender on the defensive line, you can't also stand back there with your hands down trying to rush if you know that this is what they've killed us with. Get your hands up. How many batted balls do we get a game? We don't get many. We don't. I venture to say that if there's a stat out there, and it's got to be for batted balls, percentage of batted balls on offensive snaps, or if you just look at the batted balls this season of the defensive line, I guarantee you we're in the bottom 5 of the league. We don't bat down many balls. We don't impact plays unless we hit the quarterback as he's throwing the football, or one of the guys in the secondary makes a play, most times we're not batting down balls. They're getting to the receiver. So if you know they're coming out with a 3-step drop, their approach is to get it out of hand, just like Cincinnati's was. Cincinnati said, we're not even going to really try to run. Burrow had like 15 attempts in the first quarter. He's like 12 of 15 in the first quarter. Like, they came out, their game plan was, we're going to get the ball out of Burrow's hands quickly, but we're going to throw the football against this defense. We think we can have success through the air. And they were having success through the air. But I still can't put my finger on it. But you're right, 3-step drops have been an Achilles heel of this football team. And if you know it's coming, you've got to be able to do something about it. Marcus Dixon, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Marcus writes, coming from a Giants fan, welcome to the 3-7 club, my guy. Hey, appreciate it, Marcus. Hey, me and my friends always would joke because he's a Raiders fan. Obviously, I'm a Washington fan. And I got another buddy of mine that's a Buccaneers fan, and we would all stink. And whoever would get to the 1-win table first, we would always tell the other person, hey, save a seat for me, man. I'm coming. I don't know when I'm coming, but I'll get there eventually. And, you know, this year, the Raiders, they left us a long time ago. Buccaneers, a long time ago. But it's fun to be able to say, hey, Marcus, I appreciate y'all saving us a seat at the 3-win table. I don't know how long we plan on being here. Hey, as a matter of fact, we looking at that 4-win table like, hey, what's up? Hey, Detroit, we saw y'all last week. What's up? Hey, save us a seat over there, man. No. No, that was good right there. Yeah, that's good. That's how we looking at Detroit at that 4-win table. Like, hey, man, save us a seat. We coming. I appreciate y'all saving us a seat at the 3-win table, man. Really do appreciate y'all. I don't plan on staying long, but as you know how this league goes. You like, hey, I don't know if we staying here long either. We gonna see. We gonna see. But I appreciate y'all saving us a seat at the 3-win table, man. That's really big of y'all, because it's a family member, and you could easily say, nope, I'm sitting here too, and put your one ass cheek on one seat, one ass cheek on the other seat, and be like, nope, I'm sitting on both of these seats. But you slid over and you say, hey, man, you can sit right here, man. And that's what family members do, man. I really appreciate you, Marcus. Thank you so much. We appreciate the gesture. Hopefully, we'll leave you sitting right there at the 3-win table, and we'll move on to the 4-win table. I can't guarantee you I'm going to save you a seat there, but I'll tell you what. I won't let anybody sit in the seat next to us for 1 week if we get there. If you don't come and sit next to us, I'm going to let anybody who wants to sit there, sit there. That's all I can do for you. Thank you for the super chat, Marcus Dixon. King of the North, greatly appreciate you. Thank you for, I think this is tripling up at this point, King of the North, man. Really appreciate you. King of the North writes, how in the hell did Detroit get shut out by Carolina? Watched the entire game. They weren't good. They had a double pass for a touchdown that got negated by an illegal formation. That was the closest they came to scoring all day. They had about 3 big guys out. Remember, their number 1 wide receiver, Kenny Golladay, was out. They also had Danny Amendola out. And DeAndre Swift, their all-world back, was out of this game as well. So they were extremely banged up. And Carolina did a really good job of just shutting them down. Matthew Stafford was not comfortable in the game. Remember, he was dealing with a broken, hand or, something wrong with his hand. Remember, he did it against us. And so he wasn't right. And the protection wasn't great all day. They got after Stafford. They made him uncomfortable. They weren't close in that game. They got dominated from the start of the game. And even without Teddy Bridgewater, they did this with the Walker guy from the XFL. And he made mistakes. He threw an interception in the end zone twice. And they still lost 20-0. Dominated that game thoroughly. Let's see. Got a super chat here from Metaphor. Thank you for the super chat, Metaphor. Greatly appreciate you. Metaphor writes, Victory Sunday. Whatever adjustments we're making at half need to happen in real time in the first and second quarter. That's how you turn around this deja vu. I don't know why we come out, and even Ron can't explain it. They asked Ron after every game, another slow start, Ron, or what do you attribute it to? He doesn't even have an answer. All he can tell you is that, hey, we missed a field goal. Duh, we saw that, Ron. Yep, we had a fumble. Duh, we saw that, Ron. Like, he can't give us specific reasons because I don't think anybody really knows the answer. Like, why are we struggling on offense? Why can't we get off the field on third downs? Like, what's the problem in the first half? Second half, totally different thing. And I don't even think it's any necessarily adjustments being made. I just think it's a sharper focus. And it's all mental. Like, they just need to be better from the start of the game. They know what they're doing. They know that they're not coming out playing hot football initially. At least we scored the first points of the game this week. Fat American, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Fat American writes, feel like Gibson reminds me of Steven Davis as a runner. Am I tripping? Yeah, you're tripping a little bit. They're totally different as runners. Davis was a little bit more upright as a runner. Davis did not possess the game-changing speed that Gibson does. Davis wasn't much of a receiver out of the backfield either. And Davis, I don't think Gibson is that shifty. I think he's shifty enough. Though, you saw that cutback that he made? When there was a little bit of penetration, he immediately cut it back. That's gorgeous. That was never Steven Davis's thing. And Steven Davis, he took little baby steps, little choppy steps. That's not Gibson. So I think he's a little bit different, but I could see in terms of physicality, I could see that. That's the one thing that I could compare the two of them with. But outside of that, I think he's a totally different runner than that of Steven Davis. But size-wise, Davis was, a big back himself, around like 225 or so, which is right around where Gibson is. So I could see that as well. But Davis, to me, like Gibson's 230 looks like chiseled, and it looks, Davis was a little bit more, kind of doughy-ish. It was a different type of 230, 225. Let's see. J Mart, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, J Mart, who writes, what players should we move on from next season? I think there are a lot of guys that we'll have to evaluate in the offseason. Obviously, it's hard to say. You got to look at certain situations. I mean, because when the season started, I would have told you Alex Smith is a guy you got to get rid of in the offseason. Well, that's totally changed now. He's not going anywhere, I don't think. I think you got to revamp the entire tight end position. Jeremy Sprinkle will be a free agent. I think you move on from him. Tamarick Hemingway, I think, is solid, but I think you can totally revamp that tight end position. Go and get you 2 new tight ends to go along with Logan Thomas and really upgrade that position. When I look around at some other positions on the football field, I think that Thomas Davis is done. You saw him get smoked by Ryan Finley. He made Ryan Finley look like he was Daniel Jones in terms of speed. Like, that was ridiculous. He can't run anymore. I don't even want him on the field, in situations. As a coordinator, you think you're safe in 3rd and 22, so you can bring an old 87-year-old veteran like Thomas Davis onto the field. If I'm Thomas Davis, I retire tomorrow. I'm not going to retire now, obviously, because he's still getting checks. But that's the kind of thing where I remember Warren Sapp saying when he knew when it was time to retire, Warren Sapp said, I knew I could still play. I could have played another 3 years. But he said, I was playing against Winters and Brett Favre. And it was crazy because Sapp had moved on to Oakland at the time. But they happened to be playing against Brett Favre and Winters, the center. Frank Winters was the center and longtime center for the Packers. And he says, Favre goes and does the stretch play to his running back to pull it out on bootleg. And Sapp said, I knew it. I saw it. I knew what was coming. I played against him too many times. I knew exactly what was coming. And he said, I went to shed the center and get there, and I couldn't do it. And he said, at that moment, I knew I needed to retire. He said, I could have played 3 more years. I still would have been better than, 70% of the defensive tackles in the league. But if I can't do the things that I used to do, and I saw what was coming, and I couldn't get there, it's time for me to go. Thomas Davis, I'm telling you, if I'm sitting at my locker today and I'm Thomas Davis, that's the play where I say, it's time for me to go. That was hideous. So that's another player. I think it wouldn't shock me if they moved on from Apke. Like, they're not going to cut Apke. I think he's got 1 more year on his deal, but don't think for 1 second that they're not going to bring in a safety or 2 this offseason to compete. And if he doesn't make the roster, that wouldn't shock me, But as far as guys that are just going to outright get cut. Like, I don't think they're going to cut John Bostic. Even though we don't love John Bostic, I think they still think he's a serviceable football player, which he is. I just don't want him starting. That's always been my thing. It's not that I don't want him on the team. I just don't want him starting. So it'll be interesting to see what they decide to do at a number of positions. Not just, the obvious ones. The Great Watubi, thank you for the super chat. The Great Watubi writes, is it in Hopkins' contract for a bonus to miss one field goal a game? I told you guys, the obligatory one miss a game. I said, look, if he kicks more than one in a game, he's going to usually he makes the first one. Now, there's no guarantee to the make on the first one because he's missed the first one this year before too. But usually he makes the first one. If he kicks more than two in a game, he's going to miss one. I think he's been 2 of 2 in a game this year. He's never been 3 of 3 in a game this season. If he has to kick more than one, I just think, in my mind, I go into the game saying, if we have to have Dustin kick more than one field goal, he's going to miss a kick, whether it's an extra point or it's a field goal. You just have to come into the game with that mindset. You just don't know which one it is. For us, we were lucky that it was the last one, similar to the Dallas game. He made all the kicks before that, which kept the momentum. The big kick, the 50-yarder was massive because it makes it a 2-score game at 20-9. And then when you don't need it at the end, just like against Dallas, he misses. I still think if you're this staff, you got to be looking at all options. I don't think they want to move on from him, but it's a problem. It really is a problem. Let's see. Got a super chat here from Atypical Brother. Thank you for the super chat, Atypical Brother. Greatly appreciate you. Who writes, what up, Lou? A win is a win, but man, what's up with the QBs getting gruesome injuries at our stadium? Prayers for Burrow. I don't know, man. It's not just the QBs. We could go all the way back to 2011 when Adrian Peterson tore his ACL on that field. Robert Griffin III, you saw his career change dynamically on our field. Alex Smith definitely saw his career change on our field. And now Joe Burrow with a massive injury on our field. Andy Dalton had a gruesome hit. It wasn't a season ender, but it was nasty. I mean, I don't think it's the field turf or anything. Like, that one wasn't a turf issue. That was somebody falling into his leg. His leg was locked like a hyperextension, and then it just got all that weight just fell on his leg, and he wasn't in a position to protect himself. It's rough. Prayers definitely go up to Joe Burrow. Got another one here from Atypical Brother. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Atypical Brother. Thank you for the super chat and doubling up. Who writes, NFC East is trash. 5-11, 6-10 wins the division. Don't forget, Philadelphia has that tie. So it could be a 6-9-1. It could be a 5-10-1 that wins this division as well. That tie is definitely going to come into play at season's end. So one way or another, more likely than not, that tie is going to loom large. But you're right. If Philadelphia keeps playing the way that they're playing, and they're heading in the wrong direction right now, 5-11, we've never seen anything quite like this. There's never been a division winner with double-digit losses. You're going to get that this year with the NFC East, okay? Nobody's getting the 7 wins. I feel really confident. The only team that has an outside shot of doing it is the Giants, but if you look at their schedule, I don't give a damn how good they're playing defensively. I just don't see them navigating their way through that schedule that they have to finish up with and getting to 7 wins. I think you're right. 6-10 probably ultimately gets it done. 6-9-1 or 6-10 probably gets it done in this division this year, which is crazy. Jose Martin, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you. Jose Martin writes, what's up, Lou? How is your schedule going to be this coming week since it is a short week? It's a bye week for me, actually. So you'll get Monday episode of Washington Football Nightly, and that's it. You won't get anything else from me the remainder of the week. I may chime in after the Cowboys game on Thursday. It'll be something quick live on my mobile device. But as far as you getting a normal week of content, Thanksgiving week is always my bye week, so you'll be getting nothing from me this week. I'll be pretty much going dark after Monday. After Monday Night Football overtime, the Rams Bucks, I'm going dark for the most part. So you guys enjoy your Thanksgiving. I'll enjoy mine, and then we'll reconvene in week number 13 and pick right back up on Tuesday, not Monday, because my bye week extends to that Monday, and then we start anew that Tuesday. We'll pick right back up and start talking about what will be our first game of December, and I believe it is the Steelers, if I'm not mistaken. It's either the Seahawks or the Steelers. Either way, it's tough. I don't know which one it is, but it's tough. So you'll get more from me because we'll have one more Washington Football Nightly. But yes, Monday will be my last day of the week and then into Thanksgiving. So thank you for the super chat, Jose Martin. Brendan McCloskey, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, Brendan McCloskey. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Brendan, who writes, good game today. That fourth down fumble play damn near gave me an aneurysm. LOL. Great hit by Chase. That's a grown man. That was a hell of a hustle play. If you saw where he came from, but we've seen this from Chase all year long, but if you saw where he came from to deliver that hit, it was a thing of beauty. And it was a physical play. It was a clean play. And I thought that play right there was a changing point in the game. Because if they get anything on that drive, especially a touchdown. Now, they weren't going to get a touchdown on that play because they had already flagged Cincinnati for holding. But just to force the fumble and have that get out to the 20, because remember, if we stop them right there and get that ball at the 2, now you got to dig yourself up out of the shadow of your own goal line. The touchback pushed it all the way out to the 20, and so now you got space to breathe. I just thought it's a big play by Chase Young. It was a massive play on Chase Young. Brandon Hayes, thank you for the super chat. Greatly appreciate you, Brandon Hayes, who writes, Alex looks very comfortable in his He's starting 2021. As of right now, that's what it feels like. Even if you draft a youngin, I don't see any way in which Alex Smith isn't your starter going into that season. I just don't see it right now. So that's what it feels like. And that's the assumption, barring any kind of catastrophe. I think that's the way it's trending right now. I think he's opened a lot of eyes in this organization. You got Ron talking crazy about this man potentially being the future, depending on how long he wants to play. So I think he's opened some eyes, and I think they're getting really comfortable to the idea of this guy maybe being a quarterback for the next 2 or 3 years, which I don't know if I'm really excited about that thought process, but I want to get a youngin in here. And if he can learn from Alex like Patrick Mahomes did, all the better. We'll see what happens. Again. All right. Got a super chat here from J-Mart. Thank you for doubling up, J-Mart. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, J-Mart. Greatly appreciate you. My man J-Mart writes, who gets to blame more, coaches or players for bad play? I feel like with fans, it's the coaches. You know, when something doesn't work, the first thing you do is, like, when we don't score on offense, Scott Turner's the worst. He's terrible. He has to go. You know, that's the first thing out of somebody's mouth. Defense is underperforming. Defensive coordinator stinks. Got to get rid of him. I think that people are more inclined to blame the coaching staff when they can't figure it out, when they don't see it, when it's not obvious. Like when you see John Bostic getting beat or standing at the goal line letting Jared Goff run in the end zone when he should chase after him, it's apparent that it's not the coaching staff. That's John Bostic. That's when it's easy to see. That's when fans blame players. When it's not as noticeable and you don't really know who to blame, that's when you start blaming coaching staff. But, you know, there's this fine balance that in this tightrope you walk, because sometimes it is on the coaching staff. Sometimes they're not putting their players in the best position to succeed. And then other times, that's a great call and it's poor execution. It's not the coach's fault. It's the player's fault. So, you know, you can look at it a multitude of ways, but I think when it's all said and done, really, it's probably a combination of both. It's probably half on the players, half on the staff. You know, there are instances that we've seen where it's like, no. This team stinks, but the coaching staff is worse. And so it might be like 70% coaching staff problem, 30% player problem. For the last 5 or 6 years, going back to 2016 was the last time we had legitimate talent. These last 3 years, 17, 18, and 19, we haven't had any talent. So you can blame the coaching staff all you want. Yeah, the defensive coordinators have sucked. We haven't had a good defensive coordinator, as we've mentioned here, probably since Jim Haslett. But even if you really said, all right, Haslett was average at best, which you're probably right about, we haven't had a real defensive coordinator here since Greg Williams. So we've really sucked on defense for quite some time, and it's a lot of it's been not just the pieces on the field player-wise, but it's been the coaching staff as well. So there's usually enough blame to go around, but a lot of times when fans can't obviously see the problem with the player on the field, they just automatically blame the coaching staff. It's the easiest thing to do. Thank you for the super chat, J Mart. Got a super chat here from my man JP, John Perez. Thank you for tripling up. John Perez writes, NFC East needs to be banned from the playoffs. Doesn't matter who wins the division because they're going to get gashed in wild card weekend anyway. But you're missing the point, JP. You're missing the point, JP. Okay? If it's Dallas and they got a veteran team, yeah, no, they don't need to go anywhere. They stink. If it's Philadelphia, they got a veteran team, they don't need to go. But if it's the Giants or it's us, think about what that does for Daniel Jones' confidence to play in a playoff game. Think about what that does for us, for Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne and Chase Young and Terry McLaurin and all these young players that we have, Cole Holcomb. Think about what it means for them to play in a playoff game, to get that experience, to get a taste of what it's like to play postseason football. It'll make them that much more hungrier. It'll set that standard that much higher. Like, this is what we need to attain to and strive for every single year. We need to feel this every year. This is what it's about. It changes everything. I listened to Chris Cooley talk about how different the team felt morale-wise going into the offseason when they made it to the playoffs. Didn't matter how you got there, backdoor, 5 straight wins. Doesn't matter how you get there, wild card, win the division. Doesn't matter. It changes the way you go into the next season when you make the playoffs. It does. It changes your mindset. It changes your outlook on things. If we go, think about this. If we go 5-11 and miss the playoffs, we just stink. You go 5-11 and you win a division and get a playoff game, it changes things. Yeah, you still stink, but you better put division champs next to that. I don't give a shit what you think we are. Better put division champs next to that. It changes everything. It really does. And you might get smoked in wild card weekend. That might happen. But I tell you what, they let us in the back door. They let us in. I'm not saying. I'm just saying. I've seen teams that everybody thought shouldn't be there get wins. Got one here from Miles Markin. Thank you for the super chat, Miles Markin, who writes, thoughts on Mac Jones as a potential day 2 pick. Keep up the awesome work. He's going to be around. You know, he's not going to be a first round pick. He's not sexy. It's always a little bit, dicey for me with Alabama quarterbacks, especially ones that aren't athletic. Mac Jones is not an athletic guy per se. So much talent on that football team. It's like Ohio State almost, where you're surrounding a guy with a bunch of talent and you're allowing him to just get the football in the playmaker's hands and they do the rest. I'm going to have to watch a lot of Mac Jones tape to get real familiar with him and see how he manipulates the pocket. Because you don't have to be a tremendous athlete to succeed in this league. You just got to be able to manipulate the pocket if you're not going to run. You better be able to buy yourself an extra second or two, split second in there to get rid of the football if you're not going to run. I think he's athletic enough on the 3rd and 4 to get 5, but, it'll be like, that's not the guy I'm looking to hitch the wagon to, essentially. But, you never know. Again, film study is going to be important. Film study is going to be really important on a guy like Mac Jones. To me, I feel like you can do better than that. I think you can do better than that. So we'll see what happens. Timothy Wells, thank you for the super chat. Timothy Wells, greatly appreciate you. But just to follow up, Miles, those are the kind of guys you got to start looking at if you're Washington. Because if you win this division, you end up with the 18th pick, you're more likely than not, even, I know a lot of you love the BYU kid, and Wilson, and he looks great, he's probably not going to be around, guys. The better he plays, the higher his draft stock goes, the quicker he comes off the board. So, look, we'll see what happens. More likely than not, we may not be selecting a quarterback in the first round when it's all said and done. So maybe a guy like Mac Jones is someone you need to be watching some film on, because you might be more inclined or more likely to get your hands on a Mac Jones than you are a Trey Lance or, a Zach Wilson or any of these guys that this fan base has taken a strong liking to. Timothy Wells writes, Lou, our 2-minute offense in the first half really, really pissed me off. Move with some urgency. And they were running the football like we had 2 timeouts in our back pocket. I think at that point, they were just trying to get within striking distance because they didn't want to give the ball back to Cincinnati with a bunch of time and an opportunity to do something. So they wanted to burn some clock and get and really, if that ball by Alex isn't batted in the air, because he had a receiver open on that play, if he completes that pass over the middle of the field, he gets tackled at the Bengals 47. You spike it because it would have been a first down. You spike it and it's 2nd and 10 with about, let's call it 19 seconds left. I don't know how much time was left. You still got enough time to run a play over the middle of the field, spike it, and kick a field goal. So they weren't looking for a touchdown. They were looking for a field goal, and they were going to be in a position to do that if that ball doesn't get batted in the air. But I can understand your frustration. There wasn't a tremendous sense of urgency. I thought they were urgent enough. I didn't necessarily love the fact that they were running the ball a ton. But it is what it is. Brandon Hayes. Double up. Thank you for doubling up, Brandon Hayes. Greatly appreciate you. Brandon Hayes writes, I definitely prefer Scott over Gruden. Look, I told you, I like Scott Turner. I like what he's done this season. First-time play caller, and I think he's doing a hell of a job. I like this offense. It suits the players that we have very well. And they did a really good job of knowing what they wanted for this offense. That's why they went out and got Gibson. That's why they went out and got J.D. McKissick. They knew exactly what they needed for this offense to function, and that's why they brought the guys in that they did. Now they just need another guy opposite of Terry, I think, to really make this thing take off. It'd be great to upgrade tight end as well. But at the end of the day, if they really want this offense to take off, they need another guy opposite of Terry. Atypical Brother writes, thank you for doubling up first and foremost. Double up. You might have even tripled up at this point. So we just going to do both. Because I think you rattled off back-to-back ones real quick. But either way, Atypical Brother writes, Lou, how do you feel about Haskins not being traded cut this offseason? How do you feel about keeping him and him learning more under Alex Smith? It's not about what I think. It's about what the staff thinks about Haskins, how they feel about Haskins. I haven't been a huge fan of his inconsistency, but I still wanted to see more. I don't like the lack of mobility because he's not good enough in the pocket to just be able to make plays from there. So because of that, he needed to be able to be mobile, extend plays, because that's what it takes in this league to be successful. And either you're going to have to process things quickly or you're going to have to be mobile and get out of the pocket and extend. He wasn't doing either. But I wanted to see more of him to really determine, all right, can this guy do it or not? I didn't like what I had seen, because what I saw last year was a guy that had promised to be a big-time player in this league. What I saw this year looked like a guy that just couldn't do it. Or at least not in this offense in particular. Maybe this offense, much like we talked about with Alex in the offense with Gruden, maybe not fitting him perfectly, and this one fitting him a little bit better. Maybe the same can be said for Dwayne. Maybe this offense doesn't fit him as good as the one that he was running with Kevin O'Connell. But you would think that this wide open gun-based offense with all these shadow crosses and mesh concepts, which is what they run at Ohio State, would have fit Dwayne perfectly. And for whatever reason, he just wasn't seeing the field well. He wasn't getting the ball out quick enough. He was taking too many sacks. He wasn't setting the protection correctly. He was inaccurate. He wasn't willing to move and extend plays. There was just a lot wrong. Would I be willing to allow him to be the guy that learns under Alex? If they felt that way, I'd ride with it. But again, I'm not where I was going into the season with Dwayne. There was tremendous optimism for Dwayne coming into the season. I don't feel that way now. I don't feel that way now. Could that change? Absolutely. So it's really not for me to say, it's for the staff. If the staff came back and said, hey, we think this guy has tremendous talent and we want him to develop under Alex, and we think that he could still be the quarterback of the future, I'd ride with that. Absolutely, I would. But if they also said, we don't believe in Alex, we want to move on, I'd be on board with that as well. All right. So I got one more super chat here, and it's from Brandon Hayes. Thank you for tripling up, Brandon. Greatly appreciate you. Brandon writes, how much money do we have in the offseason? We got a ton, man. I think right now we are somewhere in that $25 to $27 million salary cap threshold in terms of how much we have available. And I think that number only is going to grow when some of these contracts come off the books in the offseason, like a Brandon Sheriff who's being paid like, $14 million. Just like that, poof, $14 million shows up on the cap. Now, remember, the cap might actually decrease this year because of no fans in the stands. And so we won't get the increase that we've seen for the last, 7, 8, 9, 10 years straight. It may actually even decrease. So that may take away some cap this offseason. We don't know what's going to happen to the cap because of COVID-19. I can just tell you this. When it's all said and done, the dust settles, smoke clears, we're going to have plenty of cap space to do whatever the hell it is we want to do. Whether it's re-sign Sheriff and Allen and then go out and get a free agent or 2 or 3 or 4, or if it's just, go out and spend big money on a free agent safety, backer, and tight end to come in here, and you let Sheriff walk, or you sign him and you do all of those things. Like, we'll have enough money to be a real figure in free agency if we want to be. If we want to be. But I think they're looking to try to build this thing through the draft, and I think they're going to supplement this roster with young guys that they see. And I think they're also, I think the approach that we saw last offseason is the approach they're going to take. Just because we have a ton of money doesn't mean they're going to spend it. I think they're going to take the approach of, let's see if we can find another Logan Thomas or another J.D. McKissick out there, a guy that just didn't get enough opportunities. We see upside. He's young, and he just needs an opportunity to get more reps, more opportunities. I think you're going to see some more of that. Kevin Pierre-Louis is another example of a guy that they just felt like needed a chance to start and get consistent reps in the game. I think you're going to see more of that this offseason. Wouldn't be shocked if you see a guy that has only started in 6 games somewhere else. They like some of his tape. They might have liked him coming out of college, and now he's a free agent, and they're going to take a chance on that guy as a linebacker or as a safety. Don't be shocked if you see that. I think that's their mindset, along with, maybe 1 or 2 big, high-priced free agents that are young going into the prime of their career on a second deal, like a Corey Davis or like a Hunter Henry. I think they'll spend money on a guy like that, but don't look for, the A.J. Greens of the world and those aging veterans. Don't look for those guys to be signed here. I don't think that's what they're looking to do. I don't think Cam Newton's an option here either, especially with Alex playing the way that he's playing. So I think that goes out the window as well. But again, we'll see. All right. So that's going to do it for Washington football overtime. I really appreciate you guys chopping it up with me as we head into this short turnaround and Thanksgiving weekend against the Cowboys. Big win for the football team. Now 3-7 on the season. They have a chance to put together their first two-game winning streak of the season if they can take care of business against the Cowboys. I'm going to turn on my television set and see what they look like today against Minnesota, play catch up and catch up in that game and see what's going on there, and ultimately see if we can't find a way to get to 4 wins and really put the pressure on every other team in this division, because now it's a dead heat at 3 wins. We're literally a half game back of the division lead of the 3-6-1 Philadelphia Eagles. The Giants and us are both a half game back with 6 to go. And if you beat Dallas, you take sole possession of first place. Now, again, the Giants will have something to say about that. The Eagles will too. Those teams both play on Sunday. But we have a chance to take back sole possession of first place. I never thought we would be here at this point of the season with a chance to do this. After we lost to the Giants the second time around and lost Kyle Allen, I never thought we would have this chance. Never thought Alex Smith would come in and play the way that he has and give us a chance to be where we are. But we are here, and Bart Scott can't wait. So That's going to do it for me, your man Louie T. I thank you guys for joining me. If you haven't already done so, hit that subscribe button. Turn on that notification bell so you don't miss a thing, and hit that like button on the way out and support your man Louie T. That's going to do it for me. I'm going to glide to the side, allow you to enjoy the rest of your football Sunday. We will reconvene later on tonight for overtime, as we will have a dandy in the AFC West, Chiefs Raiders. And I'll be back tomorrow for Washington Football Nightly for the final time this week on Washington Football Nightly, as I will allow you guys to enjoy your Thanksgiving week and hopefully come away with a win as well. So until then, I'm your man Louie T signing off. This has been Washington Football Overtime. Celebrate! We got ourselves a win, and don't look now. We're a half game back in this wacky, funky, and nasty NFC East. I ain't complaining. We just gaining lots of ground and got a chance. I'll see you next time. Have a good one.
LouieTeeNetwork.